So here's a recent update when it comes to Polkadot. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'll talk about DOT, its native token, being well below $2 later on in the video, but I'll talk about this real quick. So, Parity Technologies recently made an announcement talking about how Hyperbridge is live on Polkadot Hub testnet. Now, why is this even important? Well, it's because, allegedly, builders on Polkadot Hub can now connect to over 14 blockchains through something called Hyperbridge. Now, this post does go on to mention things like Ethereum Base, which is Coinbase's layer 2. They also go ahead and mention something like Arbitrum, which is an Ethereum layer 2. They also talk about Polygon, BNB Chain, and also many others. So the way you take a look at it is that, isn't this a pretty cool update, at least personally to me? Because the way you take a look at it is that, yeah, sure, DOT, it's well below $2, which means that as of right now, DOT is around 40 times lower than $50. However, here's the thing. Do I feel like Polkadot improved, or do I feel like it regressed? If anything, I feel like it improved. Not only do I see something like this, however, I also see something like, for instance, Polkadot 2.0. I take a look at the tokenomics that they got into a little bit more detail recently. They made a post about that, which kind of announced that DOT, its native token, the maximum supply was going to be at around 2.1 billion, so I did like seeing that. Also, we have to take a look at, through Polkadot 2.0, the aspects of elastic scaling. Furthermore, we take a look at the redesign when it comes to Polkadot. However, granted, it's mostly aesthetic, right? But I still find it pretty cool that the project seems to be developing. So I feel like if anything, it didn't regress. I feel like if anything, it improved fundamentally. It's just the charts are going down. But here's the thing. If the charts are going down, yet the project arguably is becoming better, in theory, in a random make-believe scenario, which has nothing to do with this, it's like as if I got more for less, for whatever reason. Would I complain if there was a discount at Costco? Absolutely not. I'd never do that. So the thing is this. When I take a look at a project, typically, if the charts are going down, yet the project I feel like is becoming better, that's just not a moment in time in which I would just randomly give up. I wouldn't do that. However, if the project I feel like regressed and then the charts are going down, then okay, it's kind of game, set, match at that point. It's like, I'm kind of out. But I just haven't seen that here, arguably, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, also on top of that, DOT actually being this low, like I'm able to bring my average down actually. The thing is this, I don't have to do this, I'm voluntarily doing this, but I'm just dollar cost averaging once a month, on a per month basis basically. However, the reason why I haven't exited is because I just simply don't want to lock in all of the downwards movements because I feel like it's all unrealized for me anyways. I don't want to realize it, but this is just my outlook. However, also on top of that, Polkadot, I feel like the use case is still pretty strong when it comes to this space. I mean, there's many blockchains, right? Many networks, and Polkadot, it's quite essentially trying to connect blockchains together. It's focused on something called interoperability. So it's not such a bad project by any means, in my perspective. It may not be the most popular, but you know what? DOT still has over 1 million holders, actually. Which may sound kind of ridiculous, but it's actually arguably true, because it does have that many, even as of right now. Which may seem kind of odd, right? Again, considering how DOT is basically at around all-time low ranges when it comes to the price, right? It's hovering at above $1, but it's just not looking the best, a lot of people may think. But for dollar cost averaging purposes only, this is a moment where I'd be actually happy because a project that I'm already a fan of anyways is at around all-time low ranges. Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that. However, of course, for only dollar cost averaging reasons. Not to exit. If I'm exiting right now, of course, I'd be complaining, but it just isn't what I'm trying to do as of right now. Granted, though, me believing in a project within this space, it is purely voluntary, right? I don't have to do any of this. However, I'm voluntarily choosing to do so because I like the use case, I like the fundamentals, and I like how the project, in this case, Polkadot, seems to be, I think, heading in the right direction fundamentally. In terms of the charts, that's a totally different case. I can't control that, but what I can control is myself being patient, waiting, and that's it. And that's what I'm going to do. At $50 anyways, the market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be approximately 83 billion. So around the same as what Dogecoin pretty much reached in terms of market cap at one point back in 2021. I mean, do I think it's that ridiculous? Hypothetically, Maybe not, but we'll wait and see. If there is even hypothetically an altcoin season. But again, I think this update right here showcases that Polkadot, I think arguably to me, isn't necessarily forgotten about, and I do like seeing that.